Hello, hello, and welcome to my thought on this very interesting Monday. Um, I'm noticing the weather is absolutely beautiful, and they've eased the lockdown enough so that people can go camping and they can go back to nature. And I don't think that people realize how much all of us appreciated the modern conveniences that now when you go camping, you give up for the week. But of course, you have lots of, for example, my friends are going to Devon and they're going to have um, toilets and showers but they're going to cook on a little stove and they're going to sleep in a tent. And it's going to be very old-fashioned and very back to nature, which I think is very interesting. But I think they don't realize how thrilled uh, we were for modern conveniences. And the story that I love is the story my mother used to tell me about when her family got her first indoor toilet. She didn't have to go outside to go to the toilet. When they had an outhouse, um, my grandma was a very proper lady, and she would never let the girls go outside without wearing a hat. And my mother said she dropped almost all the hats down the little hole in the outhouse because the wind was blowing or somebody scared her or something. But it was a very big deal when the moment came that they got an indoor toilet. And my grandfather put that in. And then it wasn't long, and oh, they were absolutely thrilled. And then after that, he put in the telephone. Unfortunately, my grandfather put the telephone in directly across from the bathroom and the indoor toilet. And my uncle was a bit of a practical joker. So when they put in the telephone, they had just put in the toilet and then they put in the telephone. And my grandma got a telephone call. And this was absolutely amazing to her that there was something in the house that was ringing and she could pick it up and hear a voice, So my grandma was 4 foot 10. 4 foot, no, she wasn't. She was 4'7". She was really little. 4'7", yeah. And so she heard the phone ring, and she stopped what she was doing, and she went in to stand to get the telephone. But she was very little, so she had to stand on a stool. And remember, she couldn't speak English very well. She picked up the telephone, and she said, "Yeah?" And the other voice on the other end said, "Hello, Mrs. Schwartz." That was her name. "Hello, Mrs. Schwartz. This is the phone company, and we're testing the instrument, the validity of the instrument. Would you mind, and we want to see how good the sound is, would you mind going into the kitchen and turning on the faucet? We want to see if we can hear that." And my grandma said, "Okay." She got down off the stool. She walked into the kitchen, stepped up on another stool to reach the faucet, turned the faucet on, got back down, came back, went up on the stool again, picked up the phone and said, "Yeah? That's very good, Mrs. Schwartz," said the voice. "Now would you go and flush the toilet?" So my grandma got down from the stool and she went across the hall, was just there, and flushed the toilet and came back and said, "Yeah?" And the voice said, "That's very good, Mrs. Schwartz, and we want to award you an emblem of excellence. So we'll be coming over in about an hour. Would you mind serving us lunch?" And then my mother knew, and she said, "Charlie, that's enough." My grandma knew. She said, "Charlie, stop your joking." But the other funny story is when they brought electricity to the farmland in Scotland, and it was called an STD. An STD that was a trunk, an STD trunk. Well, the T was for trunk. It was to bring the communications. And my friend Laurie, that was his name, lived in the country in Scotland, and STD was just when they brought in the STD, it was a blessing, because then people in the smaller farm towns could communicate, and it was really a blessing. And when he came to California, it was in the middle of all the problems with venereal diseases, and someone said to him, "So do you have STDs, sexually transmitted diseases?" in Scotland. He said, "Oh yes," he said, "it was the most wonderful thing when that happened. Everybody was just thrilled. We had parties. We celebrated, and everybody looked at him like there's something wrong here." So I'm going back to the camping, and of course, no STDs in the camping, and the fact that they are so thrilled to give up modern conveniences when we thought it was the most wonderful thing to have modern conveniences. And one more story was with freezers. We were so, when we got freezers, we could have ice cream all year round. And it's very warm in London, and I have Magnum ice cream in the freezer. So I am going to take advantage of my modern conveniences and have a Magnum ice cream bar tonight. And thank you so much for joining me for my thought on modern living.